Yo guys, welcome back to this new video. This time, this will be my last game from the past World Cup against Lax, and with a little change of pace because this isn't gonna be a GSC game, but rather a black and white one. In fact, after we qualified for the second one, we had a little change in the lineup in France, and we decided it would be better for me to play in black and white. So yeah. Also, I was supposed to play dice originally, but the thing is, we ended up losing this round, and by the time we had lost, I still hadn't played. So that's usually what happens, where like the games don't count anymore, and some people get subbed because they don't want to play or they have other things to do. And in this case, dice got subbed for this guy named Lax, and we didn't have anyone who wanted to play black and white, so I stepped up to the plate and still played my game. And yeah, so I'll start by explaining a bit the team I made for this game. I wasn't gonna play that against dice, but since the game didn't count anymore, I figured I would have some fun. I wanted to try out this idea I had a while ago. The idea was to use subtoxic Ludicolo in Rain, because thanks to Rain Dish, you get 12% back every turn between leftovers and Rain Dish, and like you can lose 25% of your life, but between the Rain Dish and leftovers recovery and the fact that you use Protect the next turn, you have gotten those 25% back. If you know about the same principle, like there is the subtoxic Glitchxcity set that have been popular since the black and white era, who runs off the same ID, which is just getting health back from Poison Hill, and basically you never lose out. You can just keep using sub-protect, and you never lose any percent. And basically, if you have sand damage, or if you toxic the opponent, or if you inflict any status condition, you can kill it little by little this way. So I decided I would make a fun team around the concept as a whole, which is sub-protect status damage, and this is what I came up with. So for starters, there is Polytoad, which setups the rain to activate Rain Dish from Ludicolo. I decided to go with a Choice Scarf set because I didn't have any Scarf on this team, and yeah, that's why I used it. I also get to put a sleep move on it. I have Anchor because sometimes people can play around those Pokemon by setting up or doing some, like, setting up usually doesn't work, but yeah, I feel like Anchor is just a safe net. If something gets out of control, I can be faster and anchor it, as long as it's not an offensive move, and that enables me to not straight up lose, and you'll see why it'll be useful in the game later. So I went overboard with the sub-protect ID because I run it on Tentacruel and Ludicolo. They both have Rain Dish and leftovers to get back 12% every turn, and they both abuse sub-protect with Toxic, as you can see from the movesets. They also have Scald, which is useful because if I cannot Toxic my opponent for some reason, the burn works just as well. That's 12% every turn. That's more than leftovers in black and white. So you can make your opponent lose 6% every turn, or 12 if it doesn't have a passive recovery from its item. And you can just keep using substitute protect until they die, and you are safe this way. So yep. And of course the famous Glitchxcity, which is more popular than those two, which runs up the same ID. So I basically have 3 Pokemon that can abuse sub-protect status. I'll explain the spread a little bit. The Tentacruel I feel like speed is important with those sets, because if you can be faster than your opponent and get a sub up, you don't take damage. Then you protect, you don't take damage, and they can never touch you. While when you are slower, you have to take a hit and then put the sub. So it can be tricky, you know. But if you are faster, it works all the time. So I decided to go with the fast variant, and in this case I just put enough speed to be faster than normal sign, Jolly normal sign that is, and everything below. So yeah. Then Ludicolo cannot be as fast, so I just settle on being faster than Rotom, so it cannot, so I can be protected from Will-O-Wisp thanks to sub. Because yeah, some things to keep in mind. You don't have the problem with Glitchxcity because it's always going to be toxic. But since you cannot afford taking a status condition, especially a burn from Tactual or Ludicolo, because otherwise it's gonna cancel the leftovers and the rain dish damage, and you don't get your health back, and it's crucial to stay alive and stall your opponent, you know. So yeah, I decided to go with 2010 towards Rotom and put a sub in front of it, then standard. The rest I put it in defense instead of special defense. I felt like it would be more useful to tank some stuff. Then life score, once again, end of speed for Mamosine. In retrospect, it might be better with life score to be slower than Mamosine, because if you are faster, they can Icicle Crush as you sub, and then they can Ice Shard while you are unprotected, basically. While if you are slower, if they come on the switch as you sub, for example, you are always gonna be able to put a sub up as they kill it, as they break it with Icicle Crush. So it might be a better idea to actually be slower than Mamosine with Glitchxcity. Some things to keep in mind if you want to use it yourself. Then the rest in defense to better tank hits. Then I went with Jirachi for a few reasons. First reason why is that it's just a nice catch-all check for a bunch of Pokemon in the tier, especially in Rain. Jirachi in Rain is very hard to kill outside of ground moves, and it can serve as a switch-in to Latios initially in the game. Also, I get to put my rocks up, which is always going to be useful because you rack up even more damage as the opponent might try to switch around to avoid taking too much toxic damage, you know. So it takes Stealth Rock too. So I run it pretty standard. Didn't run a move that can paralyze this because you typically don't want to paralyze stuff with that. With that team, you would rather poison them or burn them. So I have U-turn to get my my Subtoxicer safely, or even if I can catch a E-Tron, for example. E-Tron is not a threat, but if I can catch a E-Tron on the U-turn and trap it with the Chio, that works. Same for Tyranitar, even though Tyranitar usually won't switch on Jirachi, but yeah. If it happens, we take those, you know. So U-turn, I ran to get my stuff safely, etc. And then I didn't know what to use, and I got the idea of using Magic Code because especially defensive Jirachi is a hazard bait, especially for Skarmory and Ferrothorn. And like, if Ferrothorn come in, I can just spam Magic Code and maybe get some spikes up. I felt like if I could just get one spikes, that would be already more than I could ask for, you know. So yeah, didn't really know what to use in the last spot. I was considering Healing Wish, but yeah, I just decided to go with Magic Code to maybe get some spikes out of it, or maybe even a status like a Will-O-Wisp from bottom. Then in the slot, I went with the trio. I just wanted to use something that trap Tyranitar, because if I trap Tyranitar or Ninetales, should I run into it, I can get my reins up for sure for the duration of the game, and you need it to abuse Tentacruel and Ludicolo with Randish. So yeah, I decided to go with the Constabulary set. I explained a while. Usually you run Focus Sash on the trio, or maybe Choice Band, but I didn't like the fact that Choice Band allow for setup. And I went with Constabulary because since I don't have a spinner or a magic bouncer in this team, I cannot prevent rocks from going up, and if rocks goes up, I basically lose my Focus Sash, which makes the trio, it makes it very, very hard, first to activate Reversal, and second to just switch it. Like, well, I mean, I'm not gonna switch with Constabulary anyway, but yeah, it makes it hard to activate Reversal. So thanks to Endure and Constabulary, you can get a priority. Well, thanks to Endure, you can get the full power Reversal, and then with Constabulary, you can have the priority, a priority for one of those moves, which can be clutch in a tight situation, especially when you think about the fact that that this team relies on passive damage, abusing a Protector and everything, and like, if you manage to poison something or burn it with Scald, you can endure and take one hit that would otherwise kill you, and basically it also makes your opponent take residual damage in the center since you survived. And yeah, you get the priority. Toxic, I felt like was the better option in the last slot, because it just keeps fitting the theme of this team of applying residual damage on everything. So if I can't Toxic something for some reason, For example, like, think about it. Sub-Landorus would be faster than that Glitchxcity, and I cannot Toxicate because I'm gonna be slower. And maybe I don't wanna switch on Chakra Ludicolo, so if it comes in on the Doctrio thinking it's safe, I can Toxicate before it gets a sub up, and then once it's Toxic, I can just use my classic shenanigans with this team. So yeah, it's kind of a fun team, it's not optimal at all. For example, Regenerator, it's very hard to play around the strategy. Especially if you face dual generator, you pretty much lose because it can just keep switching in and out, and you don't do enough damage usually. So for example, if you would face something like Slowbro, Slowking plus Among Us, that's not gonna work. Obviously, this team could be made better. Probably if you focus only on one of those three instead of the three together, but it was meant to be fun, you know. I already spent 10 minutes explaining this team, but it's probably the most interesting aspect of this video. And I'll move to the game right now. So, the game, let's talk about it. As you can see from the team preview, there is no opening weather, which means I'm gonna get, as soon as I get my rain up, I can get it sticking to stick for the whole game. And I see a lot of potential weaknesses to my subtoxic mons, because Landorus, Garchomp, and Excadrill cannot take Scald from Tentacruel and Ludicolo under rain. Then you have Magneso who cannot take the Scald nicely, or Earthquake and can be trapped. Slowking is gonna be annoying because it has Regenerator, but since it's alone, I can play around it, because if I Toxic the Slowking, it's gonna have to switch at some point, and I can catch something on the switch with Toxic or Scald, and it's gonna die slowly and slowly. And then Kyurem, who can be trapped by Dugtrio too, same with Excadrill. So yeah, let's talk about it. So he leads with Slowking, it's safe against everything on my team. I lead with Politoed because I wanted to have the rain up ASAP. Also it's safe against everything. Since I'm Froster, I just fire off an Hypnosis, it hits. I switch to Jirachi, expecting since I'm locked on Hypnosis, well, it doesn't know I'm locked. I could be non-Scarf Politoed. And Kyurem is pretty safe here, so I just go to Jirachi because I'm gonna get my rocks up, and it checks Kyurem. He goes Excadrill on the rocks. I figure in this team it's probably gonna be Scarf, but just to be sure, because it doesn't have a balloon, so it's not gonna be SD. Well, unless it's SD Shuka, but that's unusual. Anyway, just in case, just to check what it is, I just switched to my Ludicolo. It's pretty safe against Excadrill. Funnily enough, Ludicolo is a very good counter to Excadrill in black and white right now, since it's, especially with the EVs I had, so it was safe to switch into it. He used the Rapid Spin, I just sub on the switch, and you can see why how the strategy works now. I just got 12% back, I'm already at 88, next turn I'm gonna be back at 100. So he goes Ultra Rage to break the sub, I Toxicate, so I can get some residual damage. I'm gonna switch Jirachi on the Outrage, and he gets a crit and get the one shot. Kind of annoying, although I would have been 2KO'd anyway, I guess. Depends on the roll, because the leftovers can put me out of 2KO range. But yeah, kind of annoying. I'm not gonna get my rocks up, but I don't really need them to win this game. So I go to Dugtrio here, I wanna trap it. The thing is, I don't have any other option because it's faster than Tentacruel, Ludicolo, and Glitchxcity is gonna one shot. And Politoed can do much against it. So I just go to Dugtrio and gonna trap it. Since I don't have Focus Sash, I have to activate Endure. I have to activate Reversal with Endure. And that's what I do. Reversal for the kill. Thanks to Toxic, it was in range. Otherwise, it would have tanked at full. He goes Landorus here, and like I said, I was explaining in the team preview, Toxic Dugtrio can be good to catch them off guard. Probably felt safe with it, but yeah, he gets his rocks up. I don't mind rocks; it doesn't affect me much. I know like Dugtrio can't come in anymore, but I don't really need Dugtrio anymore. I can deal with Excadrill and Magneso just fine with my other four. And Toxicking Landorus is actually pretty big. So I actually use Endure here. Like I said, Dugtrio isn't gonna come back anymore. I don't want him to have momentum against my other four. So I just use Endure to not die from a U-turn, and I can see what he's gonna send next. Now he sent Excadrill, and like I said earlier, Ludicolo is a safe switch. He cannot even double to something else because he's trapped by Dugtrio anyway. So he uses Iron Head. As you can see, it did absolutely nothing. It wouldn't even be enough to break us up. So I sub on the switch, he goes looking, and now it's gonna be... You can see how Ludicolo is a threat here because he cannot switch on your Scald for rain boosted Scald. Garchomp is gonna take doesn't want to take the burn and is gonna take a nice chunk. Ludicolo is weak to Landorus is weak to it, XII is weak to it. McMeghan is gonna take a nice chunk too. So he only has Slowking. And I just need to poison Slowking to basically force it to, like, as soon as it's poisoned, it's gonna have to switch at some point because otherwise it would die from poison. And I can just keep using Scald afterwards to catch whatever is gonna send on the switch. So he reveals Nasty Plot, kind of helpful for him here because it enables it to be sort of a threat and prevent me from sitting safely behind the sub, but that's fine. So I use a Toxic here, so I can do what I said earlier. As you can see, Psyshock doesn't do much, and since I'm faster, I can just sub freely on it. So I protect here to get some leftovers. It's gonna get a bit repetitive from now on because the strategy is just gonna it's just gonna be spamming sub and protect to be safe with my Pokemons, and slowly, like little by little, just applying small damages to his team. As you can see, the Slowking is losing health from the toxic damage. It's already at 25, so he has to switch out at some point. He played well, he switched out as I protected, but since protect fails as he switches out, I can use it again safely, and I get 12, and I get even more health back because I keep getting this residual damage. And since by just protecting on Magnezone, since he has a choice item, well, it's not guaranteed, but it's usually the case in those teams, I can scout what he's using. If he uses Flash Cannon, he's not gonna treat on Ludicolo, and if he uses T-Bolt, I have the free switch on Glitchxcity, so yeah. He doubled on Slowking, but that's no big deal. I can just keep using Sub Protect till he has to switch out because of Toxic getting too big. So I'm just gonna start skipping turns to make it a bit faster. Sub Protect, the classic. It breaks my sub with Scald, but you have to keep in mind that Slowking is the only thing stopping him from getting struck by Ludicolo, Tentacruel, or Gliscor under sub, and by doing that he's also losing PPs. So he goes to Landorus here. As you can see, if the Landorus wasn't toxic, he could switch in on my Pokemon and not take any damage, and then go back to Slowking and try to PP stall me. But since the Landorus took the toxic from the Q and doesn't have leftovers, he's gonna take at least 6% every time he sends the Landorus in, which means it's eventually gonna die. And once Landorus is dead, it doesn't have anything to switch on EQ. So yeah. As you can see, I'm not taking any single person, and I can just keep using Sub Protect. Eventually, like once in a while, I can fire off an EQ to speed up the process against Slowking. So now it's just a slow grind for me, and it's a uphill battle for him to go back the game. His only win condition at this point is Garchomp, because XII is most likely Scarf, but Magnezone most likely Specs. If it's not Specs, it can do enough damage to threaten me. Slowking is just gonna eventually die from Toxic. So yeah, the only thing that can save him is Garchomp, which is probably gonna be SD. I don't know, the only thing to find out is his item. It could be Yake, it could be Ulum, it could be Selak, we'll see. So he goes to Garchomp here as on the sub. And I just wanted to Toxicate, because even if the only thing that could prevent him from being dangerous is being a sub or Lum. But if he burned the Lum on if I Toxicate, he still has to kill the sub basically. Sorry, if the Lum prevents the poison, he still has to kill the sub, so I can just poison the next turn and keep spamming Protect until he dies. Sub would have been the only troublesome move, but Sub can be kept in check between Gliscor, Ludicolo, and Polito being faster and using Henko. So yeah. Maybe he could have subbed once and then switched out, I don't know. If he had sub, but it's not that common. Sub-Sailor Garchomp is not the best set to run in Black and White in general. So yeah, he goes to Garchomp again, back to Slowking. Garchomp isn't taking any percent in the process, so I guess it's working out for him. He's trying to PP stall me. While I'm just speeding up the process with those quick. If I get a crit, it's even more helpful. As you can see, he has to slack off at some point, and whenever it slacks off, I get a free sub. And once I'm behind the sub, I really have the freedom of choice. So it goes to Landorus. Landorus taking 6%, it's already at 73. And yeah. So it's in plot here. Sub doing 17. I think I was expecting a slack off here, so I went to Ludicolo, but he used Skull instead. Got a bit lucky, and he didn't burn. Well, he had one opportunity to burn. If he got it, it would have been a bit lucky, but yeah. So now you have a free sub. It goes to Magnezone. I can protect. ET boss. He is faster, and he breaks the sub. If I was faster, that would have been cake, but yeah. So now that he is faster, I know I cannot take T-Ball from Specs, I'm just gonna switch out to Gliscor, but before doing that, I protect once again, because I'm getting some health back. It's kind of a devilish strategy, I'll give you that. So I go to Gliscor on the Fritter. I double hit to Ludicolo because I know he's not gonna stay in on the... It was a bit risky, but yeah, I feel he has no business staying in on Gliscor. I'm expecting a Slowking or Landorus, so I just go back to Ludicolo. One aggressive play in the game. I've been playing super safe so far because I have no reason not to. But yeah, I felt like I could here. So he's faster than my Ludicolo, but as you can see, Lucian doesn't do anything. I decided to Skull here because just in case he went to Ludicolo, I mean I could have protected so he took more damage from Toxic or Landorus, but I just wanted to Skull just in case he would try something else. Also I get to pressure to do some damage on Slowking and pressure it a little more. So I just substitute here, protect, breaks the sub. I protect again here. Sometimes I don't wanna protect. I don't wanna keep using substitute protect because he can predict it and use slack off on the turn, and I can just get a sub like I did here. He didn't slack off but he nasty plot, and I get now I'm behind a sub super free while he's already taking a lot of damage from Toxic. So as you can see on this turn, Toxic is doing, let's see, 30%. So I can just spam Skull basically, because if he doesn't slack off, he dies from Toxic, and if he dies from Toxic, I win the game. So I'm just spamming Skull at this point, and I know I'm gonna catch something on the switch eventually, which I do here. I catch the Magnezone. It doesn't get burned, so it doesn't die, but that's fine because I'm behind the sub anyway. So I just protect here to get to be at higher percent. The healthier I am, the better it is to prevent Garchomp from forcing me out. So I Scald here, killing the Magnezone. As you can see, slowly but little by little his whole team is dying. So he sends Garchomp. I'm not full, so I have nothing to fear. I just Toxic here to see what the item is, but I miss. Kind of annoying because if it was Lum, I could have burned the Lum here. But yeah, I decide to sack the trio because if he runs sub on the switch, if he runs sub on Ludicolo to prevent the Toxic, I could sack the trio on Stealth Rock and then anchor with Politoed as he runs sub. And if he didn't sub, I'm still faster and can force it out with Ice Beam. So that's what I did, that's why I sacked the trio. So keeping the sack was useful for this occasion. I went back on Ludicolo afterward, and once again we are back on the grind. I'm once again gonna try to be behind the sub as it takes a lot of Toxic damage, so I can spam Scald and get something on the switch. Is the Landorus Excavator than Garchomp. I Skull here. I think I expected the switch, but he did not. He has no business Scalding anyway. He has to keep using Psyshock to break the sub. So I'm just trying to catch something on the switch. And every time he doesn't attack me, I'm getting 12% back with Ludicolo. So he has a very hard time getting me down. So it just sacked Landorus, trying to set up with Garchomp. This time, since I didn't have the sack Industrial, I didn't want to risk Toxic just in case it was Lum, so I just scaled it twice, and you'll see why. So the first reason is that if he isn't Lum and I get the burn, I win the game. So I scaled twice, didn't get the burn, and it turns out to be his only win condition in being Sub-Selak. Selak Sword Dance. The way he played it, I guess Kinda revealed it would be Selak. Maybe there was a safer way to play this game, but I was still in control, and the reason why is that he showed he runs Dragon Claw earlier, so which means +4 Dragon Claw doesn't kill Gliscor while I'm at full. So what I'm gonna do is that I'm just gonna sack Ludicolo. At this point I don't need it anymore because I can just self-protect and win with either Gliscor or Tentacruel. And even if I take Stealth Rock damage, I can protect, get back at full, and now with my spread I know Dragon Claw doesn't kill. He does 97, there was no world that could kill me. So yeah, now I just Earthquake for the kill. Keep in mind that since I tanked, thanks to the passive recovery from Poison Hill, I'm already back at 17. If he goes Excadrill, I can protect on the high run head. If he goes Slowking, I can protect on the Slowking and then sub. He cannot lock itself on Earthquake, so he has to use a move that cannot hit Tentacruel to kill the Gliscor, and I just go Tentacruel on the sub, on the Iron Head, and then I can keep doing my shenanigans, and at this point it's over. Because the only way for him to kill Tentacruel with Excadrill is to use Earthquake, but by doing so he cannot kill Gliscor. And yeah, I can just keep using Skull here. He has to slack off, I just mix up between Skull and Protect. And I think he's just gonna give up soon. Yeah. And that concludes it. And okay. Yep, that's it. That was my last game of World Cup. Much funnier one, I guess, to play. There wasn't any pressure whatsoever. It's the teams, the series was decided. So glad that the team could work. And yeah, I think in general, I prefer the preparing and playing in black and white in my test game. I played GSC for the team, I like this tier, but also overall I prefer playing black and white. And yep, at this point in time when I'm making this video, the World Cup is at its semi-stage. The team left are Spain against East, and West, the team who beat us, against Europe. Playing for my European friends in general. So I just don't want the US team to win again because they won the previous editions most of the time. But everyone is good now. Wish we could have went a bit later in the competition, but we got outmatched in quarters. In general, in Sun and Moon we went 1-4, and the only game we won was thanks to Axe, so we cannot really blame the game and only ourselves at this point. So yep, that's it for my last my games for the World Cup. I have, like I said, some other projects on the side. I'll try to make them happen in videos. You'll see. I hope they will interest you. If you have any recommendation or question, as usual, feel free to tell me in the comments. I appreciate all kinds of support. Like when you guys say in the comments that you like this video, I always appreciate it. So feel free to do so if you did like this video. And until next time, guys. See ya. Thanks for watching. Have a nice day. All that jazz. Bye bye.